어디는 헛빛빛빛 빨라지는데 너도 않게 헛빛빛빛빛 거려 나를 볼 때 마지막 나는 순간까지 좀
School. Particularly high school. In high school, you have 4 core classes. Math, science. Crap. History. And English. And as you sit in English, you realize, why is this a class? English is basically just the same thing as every other English class ever. But for English in high school, every single year, you read random books and eventually do a report on the Holocaust. Every year. It's happened every year. Someone stopped them. But we read random books all the time. And as I'm a junior now, I have read quite the amount of books. So I've come to rank them. There is 5 books in total I'm here to rank. And we are currently going through The Great Gatsby. We're only 2 chapters in. I'll give my thoughts on that. And I'll probably update this at the end of senior year. We've gone through the rest of the books, and I can do a full list by putting both the videos together. Sigma. Alright, let's get started, because I don't have anything else to do. Yay!
That car can dig me. Me, rides car. Bully, rides car. Diddy.
Alright, let's start. But before we do, let's give a quick warning. If you plan on reading these books, spoiler warning. I doubt any of you want to read these. Alright, starting off, we have Romeo and Juliet by William Shakespeare. Some famous dude, and this book is critically acclaimed to be the best book of all time. This is not indeed the best play or book of all time. First of all, let's start off with the whole book. Basically, these two families, very mad at each other. They hate each other. But the sons and daughter of the family want to marry each other. Love at first sight. So the parents are like, ew, and they banish Romeo from the town because he murdered someone, not because he loved the daughter. They did get freaky at a dance party, though, so. And as Romeo is shipped to the other part, he hears news that Juliet has died. And so he buys poison and plans to kill himself at her casket. What? But it turns out, Juliet's not dead. She actually faked her death to get out of the town to go be with Romeo. But Romeo doesn't know this. So he goes to her casket, and kills like 8 people to get there. And he drinks the poison and dies in front of her casket. And then she wakes up a minute after he dies, and she's like, oh no, he's dead. And then she stabs herself with a knife. What? But yeah, that's the basic plot of the book. Oh yeah, and I think at the end the families make out or something because they're so sad that the kids died. I don't know. And yeah, I remember we watched that. We watched the Leonardo DiCaprio version of the movie, and we read the book, and I could all only think, man, this book sucks. Holy crap. So let's start with the positives. I'm probably going to start with the positives for every book. Positive number 1, the ending. I like the ending. It's pretty fun. It's the only thing that makes this book an actual tragedy. Because everything else is not a tragedy. This is a rom-com. It is a Hallmark movie with murder.
Devastation.
So, I don't know what that would classify it as. But this is not a tragedy. And I also like the characters. They're actually decently put together. There are things I don't like. Plot, it's so random. Just get out. This book is so boring because the plot is just a nothing sandwich with a side of air. Like, the whole plot is he gets freaky at a dance party, kills a guy, and then gets banished, and then kills himself. That, you've summed up the movie. You've summed up the, like, 2-hour movie and 30-day long book in about 3 seconds. Like, there's nothing too complex about it. Also, some aspects of it just don't make sense. Like, after Romeo gets shipped out, they send Juliet to a nunnery. Like, where's the logical thought in that? And, yeah, I don't remember much about this book because this was, I read this back in 2022. Oh, that was 2 years ago. But yeah, that was the first book I read in 9th grade because we read a bunch of short stories before that, and I'm not going to go through those short stories because I don't remember them. But yeah, Romeo and Juliet, 6 out of 10. Super boring. I'm so surprised I didn't just sleep through it.
You are mine! You are
On contrary to what the title of the book may seem like, this book's a masterpiece. I could make a whole video going into this book, and I might. That's why I'm not going to take too much time here. To Kill a Mockingbird's basic plot is this black guy, he gets accused of beating this woman up and raping her. Yeah, rapping her. And everyone's like, hey, he should die for that. But it turns out, the white woman made it all up. She actually raped the black man. What? And everybody knows this, but they're like, oh, we don't care. And so they hang the guy anyway. But the whole point of the book is like showing racism and also other cool things like kids' lives and helping grandmas not be addicted to drugs, and also this other character that beats up someone trying to kill someone, and it is so good. There's this dude, he's like built up for the whole book and comes out in like the final chapter and beats this guy up who was going to kill the kids, and it's so Sigma. It's so Sigma. The last chapter of the book had me literally like, oh, I was about to get Freaky Bobby in there, bro. Like that chapter, the last lines of To Kill a Mockingbird, bro, you fork. So yeah, let's go on to the goods and the bads. I'll start off with the bads actually, because there's none. The only thing that I don't like about this book is that Tom Robinson died. That is truly unfortunate. Bro did not deserve this. He's the guy who gets accused of graping and rapping the woman. He's so annoying that he dies. Like, bro had a family, bro had everything. He just dies. Good things about this book. The story and plot is perfect. It has some of the best pacing I've seen in a book. Is absolutely one of my favorite books, and I genuinely might reread it because it's just that good. And I like the characters. The characters are all extremely awesome. Yeah. Like, once I reread this, I'll probably go into an in-depth guide on why this book is the best thing I've ever read. Never slept through a chapter. This book was so Sigma.
Huh?
Another banger book. Now, for the first half, it's kind of mid. I'll say it. Basically, the plot is a bunch of kids get stranded on an island because their plane crashed. And they eventually devolve into killing each other. Yeah, that is basically the whole plot. There's also some Lord of the Flies, some creature that they think they see, which really is just something in their head that forces them into fighting each other. It's a decent book, but the final chapters really ramp up the chaos with some big characters dying, honest to gosh, some like genuine, just wow scenes. And the finale is so heartbreaking. I'm not going to spoil it. It's a good book, but it's not as good as To Kill a Mockingbird, so yeah. Probably the good parts of this book that I really enjoyed were all the characters. I know some people say Piggy's annoying, but I personally liked him. Bro was just a yapper, though. And all the other characters were alright as well. But I did have a few complaints. First of all, it didn't pick up pace fast enough, even though some of the deaths were pretty good. It still doesn't save the book in the end. It's still a good book, obviously. I'm not saying it's trash. You should read it. It's good. But some of the characters are just straight out annoying. And also, the protagonist is extremely unlikable for, like, most of the book. That's pretty much all I gotta say, though. I love the setting, and I love the haunting just vibe you get from it, seeing a bunch of kids die on an island. Because no duh, it's haunting. Probably like a 7 out of 10.
I like him younger.
As young as possible.
Oh boy, another story about Grape. Yep. The House on Manga Street is a decent book. The whole plot is just a bunch of mini stories about the neighborhood and one story about the main character as a child, by the way, getting wrapped in a circus. What? Yeah, it's kind of a bombshell thrown legit out of nowhere, because all the stories are pretty self-secluded, except for, like, the 3, which all lead up to this. And the whole book just gives vibes that this little girl's living in a town of EDPs, pretty much. Because, like, these are all, like, 9-year-olds, bro. What the flip? The book's alright, but very forgettable. Some of the bad things I don't like about it is, obviously, it has no plot, so it's not interesting. Unlike every other book, there's no, like, reason to want to read it. just a bunch of mini short stories that all take place in the same area. And also, most of the characters are just unlikable. Like, really unlikable. Especially the main character during some of the chapters just feels a bit much. I do, however, like a bit of the story. Some of the stories are really good, but I also slept through a lot of the bad ones in this book. Like, the second I started realizing what some of these were, it's just not. Pretty much the only good thing is some of the little stories, and some characters are pretty decent. But other than that, this book is mid. Probably like a 5 out of 10. It is not that good. Night is a Holocaust story based on a true story from the author's perspective, which basically means I can't say anything bad about this book, or because I'm like, the plot wasn't that good. It's a true story about the Holocaust, but the plot wasn't that good. The book is good. I will give it that. It is an insanely sad story. And the way that the author conveys how he feels throughout the entire Holocaust situation, which I'm pretty sure you know by now, is pretty devastating. And some of the scenes are just graphic. Overall, the book is just about how he goes from, like, this normal kid to, the struggling kid, and eventually just, like, a soulless person after the end of the Holocaust, seeing all the things that he's seen. And I will say, probably the best part of this book is its last line. I'm pretty sure its last line is like, and as I looked in the mirror, I didn't recognize who was looking back. It is heartbreaking, dude. Because, like, the last line is like, the last chapter, he's in a hospital, he looks in the mirror, and he has no clue who he's looking at, because it's been, like, 5 years, and he's just been in the camps that long. Some of the twists in this book, which aren't really twists because it's just history, are good. And I can't really say much. It's a book about the Holocaust. But I do recommend you read it. Alright, last book that I've actually read fully. I slept through the book. Yeah, I do not remember anything. What I do remember, though, is that the second that Julius died, which was, like, the 3rd chapter, this book became insanely boring. Like, I was awake for the first 3 chapters, they killed King Julius, and everything's just boring. So yeah, like 3 out of 10, worst book I've ever read, like, bro. Last part of this video, I'll make it short. Right now we're reading The Great Gatsby, and we're about midway through chapter 2. I'll give my thoughts on it. It's a boring book so far, but I am going to give it a chance. The whole book seems to be centered around affairs, which I don't really care for, but I do like Gatsby being a mysterious character in himself, so I'm excited to see what that is. Although, probably the biggest downside about this book is that the main character describes some characters, particularly his cousin, a little bit weird. Like, I'm just sitting there drawing on my piece of paper, listening to the audiobook being played, and then bro just starts saying the most rambunctious things about his family, bro. Like, huh? Like, at first I was like, oh, maybe it's just the author going in detail for us so we can, like, get a visual picture of who the character is. And all of a sudden, bro just spats out the most random crap. It's like, huh? And this book is based on life, like his life, so it's like, huh? Anyway, if you stick all the way through, thanks for watching. We'll probably eventually get to the VR vid. It's coming out. Trust. It is coming out. You have to believe me.